And welcome to the Diablo podcast, your home for Diablo diehards, tryhards, casual, and hardcore alike. I am your host, Xanth, and today I am joined by the one and only Kevin McAllister, and I'm not going to make a joke.
Thank you, thank you. I saw it. I saw the gears turning there, and I'm like, "Where's he going to go with this?" But hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me back again. Always fun to talk and talk about Diablo and nerd out with you.
Yeah, and it's great to have you come on and to chat because it's a big day. Um, we got a lot to talk about. We have a new patch, I should say. We've had a few bugs come up since the last podcast was posted. Um, we got a reveal about the PTR. We got class changes. We got new season mechanics. But before we do that, what I know is going to happen is people are going to say, Xanth, Path of Exile. Path of Exile is happening as well. Um, so let's put that up on the forefront. We'll talk a little bit of PoE. This is still the Diablo podcast, and that's the forefront. But it's weird not to talk about it. So since everybody else is, we should too. So Kevin, I had asked you this a little bit pre-show. What's your Path of Exile experience?
Yeah, so absolutely zero. Diablo was my first ARPG experience, and I've thoroughly dove myself into the Diablo franchise, and I've played them all now. So yourself, others, my friends are telling me I need to go and try it out. And today was, like you said, it was a big day for ARPG fans, right? I probably will go ahead and try it out. I do invest so much time in Diablo. I'm worried for myself if I have two of them, but I'm hearing a lot of good things. So I'm excited to, you know, see it all unfold for everyone.
Yeah, and then again, we were talking pre-show. We're recording here. It is the 21st. It's Thursday. Tomorrow I'll be on Kind of Funny to talk all about Path of Exile. Too, because I was out in LA 2 weeks ago to preview the game and play it and really go hands-on. And um, it was an interesting day today. We were talking yet again, and all the good conversation happens pre-show, I guess. But we gotta we gotta get in the right mindset. But uh, some of the talk was around like the timing of today in like stealing thunder or taking away. What I can tell you from my back end is all my information has been embargoed for about 3 weeks, and like so knowing when the event was going to happen and when we were going to talk about it. And then Path of Exile, so Path of Exile has this planned for the 21st, and then Diablo does their smaller campfire and then plans this one to reveal the PTR. And it's really just bad timing. It's just a bad coincidence that they're both doing this. Um, it is it's a hard comparison. What Diablo is putting out today it is a preview of a league of a season, right? And what Path of Exile is putting out is literally a whole new game. Diablo's going to look like crap by comparison. Like it's you're comparing a small addition to a brand new experience, and yeah, it's a hard basis. What I can tell you though, from playing Path of Exile, I'll dig into it on Kind of Funny, it's really fucking good. It is. I went without lunch because I wanted to play it. Lunch was 30 feet away from me. I didn't want to get up. And then like when dinner was coming at like several hours later, I had to debate not eating as well. There- And some of that's the like, oh, I got this exclusive access. I want to play as much as I can. But it was also I was having so much fun playing it. And there is the novelty approach. Like it's novel, it's new. But the things I was looking for wasn't the newness. It wasn't the campaign, it was the feel. And the feel of the game is very good. This is a very good thing for Diablo. Diablo needs good competition. Last Epoch's great, but that didn't hit the way I think a lot of people expected it to. Path of Exile 1 is great, but it's dated. If you put something with some of that polish and veneer like out there to compete against Diablo, that's a good thing. Like iron sharpens iron. I'm excited for PoE 2. I'm excited for Diablo 4, and I'm excited to see them kind of push each other. I'm not excited for how much time they will both monopolize. It's it's hard.
You
I've
will
been able
never
to
play
start
another game again.
right. I've been able to start playing some other games. Like I'm almost done with Metaphor Refantasio right now. And I can balance. I'm not
Yep.
going to be able like it'll be just Diablo and Path of Exile. That's it. That's all I got now.
That's it. That's your life.
What am I going to do?
Job, who needs one, you know?
Ah, it just gets in the way. Uh, one last thought about Path of Exile. I will state, as a hardcore aficionado, I have no idea I'm going to play this game on hardcore. I was getting my ass kicked left and right, even with some knowledge of what was going on. I don't. I only got through midway through Act 2 in the time I had, and I don't think there's maybe one or two bosses that I was able to kill without dying. The other ones required a death or five. It's it's gonna be tough.
That's interesting. I mean, everything you're saying excites me, right? And like you said, competition is good. It's good for the industry. You want games to succeed. Game developers will look at those games and gain inspiration or look at one system. It's like, oh, how can we take that system and apply it to our game and make it even better, right? So I think Path of Exile coming out is just going to constantly just keep improving Diablo, which is awesome. Well, awesome for us. Diablo's in a good state right now, so yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's a good day for ARPG fans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So excited for all the things. And again, the big downside is the lack of time for all of them. We're just not gonna have. I can't do it all. I'm just one man,
Yep. Yeah.
just one dude. Um, okay. So the Path of Exile of it aside, let's move into a little bit of more recent stuff, and then we'll go into the big news from today. Uh, since the last podcast, there's been just a few things. We got a a new old holiday mechanic coming back. We got the red hooded horror. Um, in tandem with that, we got a good old friend, the anti-venom potion. Did you get a chance to play with the anti-venom potion before it was patched?
I did not, but I saw what was happening, and I was mad at myself that I did not take advantage.
There was a brief moment where the anti-venom potion was scaling exponentially with your health, leading to ridiculous levels of health and obviously, naturally, as is the season, ridiculous spirit-borne damage, which they then quickly did fix. Were you surprised at the speed of this fix?
Yes and no, right? Like we all know Spiritborn is pretty OP this season. They told us, they're not going to nerf it this season. Um, so I mean, it's the thing they've been preaching every campfire chat, right? Where if it's designed to do that type of damage, then great. If it's not designed to do that type of damage or create these absurd numbers and gimmicks, I guess you could call, they're going to patch it. It was very quick, that's for sure. So props to them for getting onto it. But those type of things, I'm always on the side of like, let us play with it a little bit longer and see what it is, right? But there could be things on the back end where it could be hurting performance, things we just don't know about, and there's always a reason why they have to patch these things, right? So there's that more logical sense of like, oh, maybe it could cause a domino effect that we wouldn't have wanted, and then we would be complaining about something else.
I can only assume that a druid may have cleared a pit 120, and they're like, shut it down.
Yep.
We can't have that. Um, so it kind of brings up them patching it, I think, is a good thing. I am disappointed in the campfire from the previous week that Spiritborn is going to kind of be able to run free. I would say nothing has burned me out from this season more, and that is as somebody who has predominantly played as Spiritborn, has just been this power imbalance. And often, I do like to think that somebody else's playstyle shouldn't necessarily dictate my own. You are always free to choose your own build. You are always free to do that. But the nature of the game is like kind of like Pandora's box. Now that I know what is out there, and being in this little world, like you're keenly aware of what people are doing and playing, it just feels off. It just doesn't feel right. Like you kind of found the cheat code. I haven't played Contra in years, but the Konami code's always still in the back of my mind because I would always start with 99 lives, right? Like, why wouldn't you? That's what the Spiritborn has kind of felt like, and it's so disappointing because the press beta before I avoided Quill Rain during the press beta because I just didn't like the way the skill looked. I wanted to do um, the Gorilla one and just kind of messing around with thorns. Like that was my big playstyle because nobody had sussed out what the meta was. I would have loved to have seen that kind of brought down. That's okay. That's okay. Um, so there is obviously a little bit of that critique around like a knee-jerk reaction to other people being able to have like a little bit of that Spiritborn power when the Spiritborn will still continue for the next, what, 8 odd weeks to have free reign.
Right.
That being said,
Yep.
how has your Vessel of Hatred experience been thus far? Because we haven't talked since it launched.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? Did you get sucked into the Spiritborn hole? Are you as overpowered as everybody else? And are you enjoying it?
Yeah. One, I am enjoying it. I of course beat the campaign. I got 100% on the seasonal journey. I did everything I kind of needed to do besides get to 300. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that, at least not this season. I have been in the Spiritborn hole. It is the only class I played this season. It is from the class that I picked from the start of the campaign. That's the same character I've rolled with this entire time. I'm at Paragon 241 right now. Um, I'm not as overpowered as some of those crazy numbers. For most of the time, I was doing a homebrew build. And it was a mix of things between like movement speed and rake for a while before that got buffed. Um, funny enough, I started with Quill Volley before knowing the meta of it, and then found out that was the OP, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be this, and I'm going to do my own thing, right? And started jumping into a lot of the centipede, and I used the razor wings a lot. Uh, I dabbled in the stinger build. So I was just kind of like trying to whip up my own things, mix and match in as much as I could until that wall hits you. And I got there, and I'm like, so I went to Quill Volley. Still not looking at builds. I know what's happening. Um, but like you said, once you know, right? The rod of Kepelepki, that was there. They kept dropping for me. I'm like, well, it's a sign at this point, right? It's slotted in. The Lord's Banishment of Talisman, slot that in, and now all of a sudden my Quill Volley is doing stupid numbers, right? Like I'm hitting for billions. Like I said, I'm not the trillions yet. Last night I think I hit like 100 billion or something dumb. And for me, that was like, yes, I finally did it. I never looked at a build. I did it. I know it's the meta. on one hand, I was a little proud of myself. On the other hand, I'm like, you're just like everyone else, Kevin. So who cares, right? So yeah, but I'm enjoying it. Um, I was always skeptical of the new leveling system when it comes to hit 60 and then Paragon up to 300. Once I started doing it, I'm like, okay, I actually like this. But now hitting this 230 and above, I'm back to being very skeptical and not not enjoying it as much because where I'm at right now, I have my gear. It would be nice to get some, at least two greater fixed weapons. That would be great. Everything is just one for me at this point. Um, but all my gear is masterwork, 12 out of 12. My Paragon, I only have two more that I don't have the 100. So the other three are. So now I'm in this loop of like, all right, everything is almost done for my character. So now from 240, let's say by the time I get those glyphs done, 243 and above, what am I doing? Right? I'm just going to be running the pits constantly, going at, tier 80 or so, trying to get 3.5 minutes per run and keep doing that over and over and over again, making sure my insets, my elixirs are boosted, get a party together. But that progress bar ain't moving, man. It's going slow. And for me personally, it's one of the great things I love about Diablo is I can jump in and I always feel rewarded with something. Whether it's a piece of gear I just got, whether it's a new level, a Paragon point. But at this point, I'm not getting any of those. I'm just there. I'm just playing, and now I'm just going through the motions. So yeah, that's kind of like my my con of the season is that point, like kind of where I'm at going forward. But 240 and below, I've had a great time.
I think you're getting to something that I was talking to a friend of mine with as we were discussing the reveal today with PoE. PoE really pushes itself towards bosses. Like you're always trying to get to the next hardest boss. The goal for a character might be to be really good at killing this boss and then maybe farming keys for a different one, whatever it might be. And that's how you judge a character, right? It can do this boss this quickly, this effectively. Diablo, since 2, has really been about your placing your character on a ladder. You placing your character in direct competition with another through some means. In Diablo 2, it was leveling. Diablo 3, we're looking at rifts. And then Diablo 4 doesn't have that. It had a leaderboard just briefly, and then that went away with Vessel. And it feels like maybe that's the thing that you're talking about that's kind of missing of like, hey, I push that little bit of increment so that I can then go and maybe we go back to what the leaderboards were, or we go and use the pit as that line of demarcation. But like I have something that I can then use all this gear for to compete with other people on and to know that I've made a push towards it. And it is glaring. But like as we're kind of going back to that D4 PoE conversation, that's the big difference in these games is where they deviate. Like Path of Exile has some form of a leaderboard. Like you can see like rankings, but it's not about that. Like that's not their main goal or objective. Whereas Diablo is, and it lacking that right now, I think is a misstep. And it'd be good to see it kind of be worked back in.
Yeah, I was always okay with the gauntlet. I thought it was something fun to push for, but honestly never had the expectations to get in the top five because once that first three or so is in there, they're in there. You're not surpassing them, right? Um, Leaderboards are cool, but yeah, it's like it's not even that. I don't think where I'm a player. I can keep it or leave it with leaderboards. I think it's cool to have something. I think I might be in the minority, but I actually really like the Avatar of Zir. It got stupid challenging at points, but it would have me consistently try to upgrade my Paragon. Actually, want to do the Nightmare Dungeons at that point of time in the game. Um, really go and chase some mythics, and the mythics. Well, this was season 2, right? So the mythics were kind of very hard to get. They're not like it is now, where I think I got like 8 mythics this season, fairly easy, right? Um, but it gave me something to go towards, and so it. But the pit also fills that void. Um, but the increments of the challenge with the pit, I think, is a little. The balancing is a little off. Where I will do 100 super easy, and then 105, the boss is taking like way too long to fight. I'm like, I literally just did 5 levels before this with a buddy in like 2 minutes. So what happened here, right? So I think it's just those enemies have like billions of health pool. I think it's just some of those little things that I guess irritate me when I'm trying to level, because I want to get to 300. Like, that is my goal at some point, whether I do it this season or that character goes into an Eternal Realm and then I try to do it there. Because they also tied it to PlayStation trophies, and I am a trophy hunter, and that is the only trophy now left in my Diablo 4 thing, and it's killing me, man. It's just sitting
Yeah,
there.
it
So I have to do it at some point.
it is a long grind. I do get that. Um, yeah, and I did notice that trophy as well. I'm just like, well, I mean, technically, you still have the platinum, right? They can't
I
take it
do.
from you.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
It would be funny if they did, but yeah,
That would not. Actually.
it is a bit of a grind to hit 300. I'm not anticipating it uh for myself this league. I split between softcore and hardcore. So I think I'm like 150 on softcore and then like 170 on hardcore. And
Okay.
then my Spiritborn died, and I've got this druid that's level 42, and it's really fucking slow. So it's it's gonna be a bit. I don't know.
It's hard to go another class right now
Yeah.
after Spiritborn, and how powerful it is, how fast it is. My movement speed on that is stupid. It's almost maxed out, right? Almost
Everything's
200%.
a movement skill. It's so
Yeah.
fast. It's so great.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think there's a good transition there, though. Enjoy it while we can, because I don't think the Spirit Born in the new season will be awful. I don't. I think I think it won't be clearing 150 in 2 minutes. I think it'll still end up being the best class of the bunch, maybe just by 5 pit tiers and not by 50.
It's going to be the new Barbarian,
Yeah. I
right?
think it
The next couple seasons, that's going to be the Barbarian. People are going to try to, uh, they're going to try to figure out, all right, how do we get these other classes to Spiritborn now, right? And they got Barbarian down, but now the Spiritborn's replaced it, sort of, you know.
and that was a nice starting point with the campfire today of like, hey, here's what's coming for class changes. I didn't see anything in the class changes, and we don't have to go point by point because that I think there'll probably be plenty of videos by people who are experts on those particular classes. Um, but I didn't see anything within there that made me think, oh yeah, that's gonna level the playing field. There it is. There's what the sorcerer needed. There's what necro needed. What I think every class got cool new tools,
Yep.
but nobody got like a fundamental redesign, which I think there are classes that could use something like that.
Right. Yep. I did when they talked about the shred. What's that aspect?
Blurred Beast.
Yep, there it is. As soon as they talked about that, I thought about you right away because I'm like, because myself, Shred is every time I played Druid, I went Shred. I never really was too keen on the poison though. So with this not being, specifically for poison, I was interested in that and try it out in season 7. But yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, that's all of a sudden gonna be a Spiritborn. Of course not. So yeah, I agree with you. It's more tools for the tool belt in each class. We'll see what Spiritborn is in season 7. It will still be powerful. It'll still be fun. I still love playing with it. So yeah, it's funny because you know last podcast I was on, I think we are having the same conversation, but it was with Barbarian.
Yeah. There's always going to be somebody at the top, and then
Yep.
there's always going to be somebody at the bottom. I think we were talking about this last podcast, just like with pit clears in general. The starting five were within the realm where you were just like, okay, uh, there there there's some that are outperforming others, but overall they're within like 15 pit tiers. And then you had the Spirit Board, which was way up there. Um, if the Spirit Board gets knocked down to the top of that and they're within that 15, I think that's fine. I think that's
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
I think it's also fine if nobody clears hit 150 for next league. Like it's harder and they're going to keep adding power, but it shouldn't have got there that quickly. Um,
Right. And
but
I
we'll
think
see.
yeah, right. And I think like us players shouldn't be as surprised, right? Like even the devs kind of, I saw some Rod Ferguson said before the season even started. They're like, Spiritborn's going to be OP, right? Like they expected it, we expected it, and then it happened, and we're like, yeah, but people are having fun with it. Um, so let players continue their fun for this season, and then we'll balance it out again. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. Like there's always going to be the meta with these type of games, um, but enjoy it while you can and enjoy playing with it. Like when I see billions on my screen, fuck it, I love it. It's great.
I am of the opposite opinion on the billions. I'm still like when I'm seeing obviously with Spiritborn it's ridiculous billions and trillions of damage. I wonder when did the stat squish actually happen? Because I I don't see it. If you were to tell somebody who'd never played Diablo up until this point, like, oh yeah, they brought the numbers down from last season, and then they see billions. You got to wonder, like, how big were they before? Well, oh, it was
Yeah.
infinity. It was infinity before. Um, yeah, I would love to see that kind of altered, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is just a number. It'll be okay. It's still just jarring. Doesn't feel like a stat squish by any means, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a lot of Diablo 3 similarities, with some of these numbers.
Yes, I think they're like Diablo 4 is shifting and veering in these weird turns. It it's veering towards like Diablo 3-esque numbers and some of the gameplay. But then like also veers into Diablo 2 scaling for leveling at endgame, with the
Yep.
Paragon being modeled much akin to like the 90, 91 to 99. It's just this weird combination of them. Um, I don't know. Let's see
But it's
how it plays.
interesting, right? Like
Yeah.
you saying that, it's like, that actually kind of sounds awesome. Little Diablo 3, a little Diablo 2. And then you get a little sprinkle of Diablo 4 in there, the newer stuff, right? Like there's a lot. I love each game for different reasons, and combining them and going back to what worked. Obviously, we know Diablo 3 had a crazy resurrection from
Mhm.
launch to, what now they're in season, 33 or something. And people are still playing it. I'm still playing it, actually. I'm 2 trophies away from the platinums, Xanth. 2 trophies. But yeah, I think, I think it's a good sign for the franchise to go back to your roots and get those things that worked and mix them up and put them in your new iteration because that feeds into your legacy players, but also invites newer players into your game. And you get the little feel nostalgic, like fighting the console, right? That stuff's so cool. I love when they kind of go back and bring some of the enemies into Diablo 4 and you're playing it. But yeah, it's interesting when you look at kind of the whole grand scheme of it and where we came from launch day or even pre access, early access to season 1, 2, all the way to this season and where we're going. Um, Diablo is just fucking cool, man. Like I love this game.
No, I agree with you. I think Diablo 4 has been about three different games at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
it it's still, and I think it's going to be a few more before we're done with it, and that's a good thing. I think the dev team is very receptive, not to fixing Spiritborn in the middle of the season, but they are very receptive to going and taking feedback, and changing things up, which is good, and that has led to what I think a lot of people have been looking forward to, which is having an armory, having the ability to swap out your gear, passives, paragon boards, your glyphs. Um, and I'm kind of excited for that because I hate interacting with the paragon system that often when I want to change things. If I could lock it in and save it and then try something else and then be like, oh, that sucks. I'm going to shift back. The amount of times I've just been like, I will do that tomorrow. I don't have the patience to reset this tree again. Um, I am all for that. What were your thoughts when you got to see the armory?
That was the highlight of the chat for me. This is the one thing I've been requesting a lot personally. I was actually just playing with my buddy last night and we were grinding some pits and we were talking. I'm like, dude, I just need a fucking armory in this game, man. I need to be able to switch out loadouts or I my Paragon boards aren't as efficient as they should be, and I know that. But I don't want to go through the hassle of resetting it and doing it again. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna roll with it. And I'm not hitting for the stupid crazy numbers that I'm seeing, but I'm having fun and that's what I'm just gonna keep on doing. But something like this where I can go test those other builds without having the worry of resetting everything, putting everything into my skills, putting everything in my Paragon, and then most of the time it doesn't really work for myself, right? So now I just screwed myself because now I went backwards with my build. So yeah, this was the highlight for me. I actually during work today, I got a Slack message. They're like, "Armory coming in season 7." I'm like, "Beautiful, thank you." And yeah, I'm looking at the picture now, and Diablo 3 had one, right? So everyone's been expecting it. And we're going into the 7th season, and but it sounds like a lot, but Diablo hasn't even been out for 2 years yet, right? So I think this is a good spot for us to have the armory, especially with the Spiritborn class, and especially how this season with the Spiritborn specifically, I felt like they gave us a little bit more versatility with the build. I know, kind of. Is hypocritical what we are just talking about of like you have to play Quill Valley, right? But there are the other options that you can play with the Gorilla and Centipede and Eagle. If you don't want to chase the OP meta, there are all these other options you can do and you can try out. So yeah, I'm all in for the armory. Thank you, Diablo, for finally giving us this. I'm so excited. I'm gonna make what we have 5 slots there. I'm gonna have all 5 slots covered.
Yeah, I think everybody will take full advantage of all the slots that they have. Um, it will definitely be from like a hard. I'd be curious of, and that maybe I didn't see it if from hardcore if I can have it saved from character to character or if it is just locked in. Because if I can lock in a build for a character the second I hit 60 to just slap it all in. That would be nice because I die a lot,
It's
if I haven't mentioned before.
yeah, just a little,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah,
okay. You're fighting the good fight that none of us want to do. So good
it's
on
fair.
you. You know.
Um,
It does say armory loadout slots are character bound.
okay. Hmm. Well, we'll start
That's
with what we've got
yep,
and then move to account bound so that I can just lock it in the second I hit
exactly.
60. Um,
Baby steps.
yeah, because I mean it when you hit 60 after you've got that 170 plus Paragon, you have to stop. You have to stop and like spend all those points real quick. If you have that armory loadout to just, all right, there we go, as many as it can be, that would be nice. That's what
I,
I would prefer.
yeah, I think the armor is just going to entice people to try out new things, and I think that is better for the health of the game, for people to keep theory crafting and trying out all these different builds that maybe you wouldn't have before because there was no armory that you could save that build and loadout. So yeah, just super excited for the armory. I know like people outside our circle, they're like, "Why are you so excited for a damn armory? You don't understand." All right.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of time spent putting points in. It'll definitely be appreciated. And again, we will get to test it, so maybe that's where they can make it account bound.
Yep.
For us few hardcore players who die far too often and would love
Or
it.
all
Maybe.
three of you out there.
In tandem, with the armory though, we did get a reveal of the season theme. In talking about this PTR, they're doing something which is pretty logical. I know like there is the thought process of like keeping everything close to the chest so that players are going to be able to come into the new season with secrets to uncover, with powers to play with that they didn't get to before. And what we've seen time and time and time again is that that season mechanic needs a little bit more work or has some sort of game-breaking bug that people can exploit, and then it's not as fun. Or it needs to be tuned up or tuned down. And for the first time, dropping it on the PTR means we get to break it and then make sure it gets in the best possible spot.
Yep.
I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a win for sure. Like we had what season two, with the blood vampiric powers, and then we had what was it, season three or four, with the little what's the little pet.
The construct.
Yep, there it is. That one, and neither one of those had a PTR. Um, Luckily for season two, still one of the best seasons to date, and I think they just really nailed that season in general. Um, and even the seasons after that, I think they were trying to chase that season and didn't quite make it. Um, I think they pretty good spot now though. But yeah, having a PTR for this to understand these new powers and make it to where on launch day these are it's balanced for the community. I think this is going to be huge, and I'm excited to try some witchcraft powers.
Yeah, I think the other part of it is what the actual season is. In Diablo 3, I was predominantly a witch doctor. So this is me just being able to turn every Diablo 4 class into my main Diablo 3 class, which is kind of fun. Um, you know, who doesn't love a good Piranado going around, flaming bats, what have you? Zombie Bear was my favorite attack, but that's okay. There's still time to work that in.
Yeah. Everything should have a zombie bear, honestly.
It was so revolutionary to be able to spam zombie bears all over the fields of misery or whatever it might have been.
Yeah.
Uh, so I do really like this. the depth of the amount of like witchcraft skills that they are giving us is exciting.
Yep.
My main critique, and I said it with Construct, and I said it with Season of Blood, is they are building so many of these cool little pieces. One, this whole witch thing feels like almost there's enough there to make it a whole class. All of these pieces I would love to see just on a skill tree. Um, I'd like to see that kind of integration make its way in, because then we're making cooler choices along the way, as opposed to just like this temporary power. Um,
Or do you think they're testing the waters a little bit, right?
I will tell you, if the next class they release is a witch doctor and not some sort of sword and board, there's gonna be a riot.
Yeah,
They
there will
couldn't
be.
they can't do that. They got the grace period with the spirit born, but I genuinely think as a class archetype in fantasy, it's missing, and they know it. They knew it when they announced the spirit born, and I'm confident that they wouldn't do that. Maybe it's Paladin plus Witch Doctor, but
Yeah.
definitely definitely not a Witch Doctor. That would be. I am all for it. I would love to see the riot that ensues, but uh no, no, you couldn't do that.
I mean, thematically, this fits perfectly where we're at right now with Vessel of Hatred, right? In the jungle. We already have Spiritborn. Now, let's get some witchcraft powers in here, which is really cool. The thing I do like about these, like you said, I think putting these on trees in multiple classes is the ideal way to go. Um, but we have seen some of these temporary powers be a thing that has just stayed in the game. Uh, the Boots of Metamorphosis, right? That power is still in the game to this day, along with another blood volatile exploding thing that I forget what it's called. So these things have stuck around. So, I think this is one of their ways to kind of maybe, test the waters, maybe for a potential class, but also, okay, what powers can we keep in this game? And what can we stem off of these to maybe make them more grand than just an aspect or something? But I'm looking at this one screenshot right now, and it's identical almost to the construct season, where like I'm looking at a unique witch power doom orb, um, and during that construct season, chasing those unique stones was not great. I got one of them out of the two, but that wasn't really my favorite part. But I assume, and I've been confident in their team that they've learned from the wins and the losses throughout all these seasons, and if they can combine this witch powers to, with like a season of blood, I think we got something. We got something good here. But yeah, I'm excited just to try it out in the PTR and see how it is. But like I said, thematically, I think this is awesome. I think this is the right way to go. Immediately following Vessel of Hatred. Or technically, we're still in Vessel of Hatred, right? But
Very true. We are. It's a weird spot to be in. I mean, it is you know mid-November, I guess we can classify it. Um, so we're not that far removed from Vessel launching, but it feels so much further away. Um,
right,
it's like it's kind of the nature of how like this time of year seems to go. You always build up hype too, and like the second you have something,
yep,
I mentioned it last podcast. I ruined myself with the press version because I played so much because I knew I had this narrow window to do it, and then like when it launched, I already knew just about everything, and I was still playing a lot, but like I put in like what 50 hours in that week, which is too much time for me. Like, I'm not saying playing 50 hours in a week is a bad thing. If you love doing something, you should do it. But it was a lot
right.
of time for
It's a lot.
me to do, and it burned me out real fast for the actual season. Um, but this stuff, like I know myself right now that I will not play the PTR. I just don't have the time because early access for PoE 2 will start right around the same time. Um,
Yep.
and I have a hard time with PTRs in general, just because it's that balancing act of this is even more temporary. Plus, I want to play my regular season character. I got that druid's level 42. He needs to he needs to make it to 60 at some point. He deserves it. So the PTR I definitely won't be, but I will say the information today has me more excited. It's lit that spark again of where I want to be going in Diablo, and what I want to be playing, and I'm excited to see everybody kind of explore that and watch them iron out the bugs, watch them figure out what isn't working, so that when I do get the opportunity to start with it, it will be a much better experience.
And I'm right there with you. I definitely lean on more of not doing the PTR, and that's just for a personal reason because of like when new season drops, I want all the new, fresh, fancy stuff that I've never played before. So if I play it, in a couple weeks, I'm gonna know what's coming. I don't want to burn myself out too early, but I also do want to jump in and see how it is and help in the very limited little capacity that I could of like, hey, here's a feedback for you. But yeah, I'm kind of there with you where I like to be in the season that we're currently in and enjoy that and take that up into the next one and then experience the new thing right away on day one.
I watched the last PTR. I watched Macro Bio Boy play for just a little bit, and it made me realize how bad of a beta tester I actually am, or a PTR tester or whatever we want to say. Because he was like for an hour straight making new necromancers, looking at the randomly generated aspects, searching for a few that he actually wanted, salvaging the gear, and then making another new one, another new one, another new one. And he was literally just trying to cultivate the right aspects to get a build into order that he wanted. I'm just like, I would never I would never do that. I would just like take the random ass gear that you gave me,
Yep.
go out and try to make it work, get frustrated, and then leave. Like, I wouldn't think to do that, and I'm glad that the Macrobio boys are out there doing that because I certainly couldn't.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Thank you all for your service.
Could you make they do make the game better. They're the ones who are finding those gigantic bugs.
For sure.
Not quick enough with the Spiritborn, but they are finding the ones that will help put them on the map. And I will point out, like those Spiritborn ones, those builds, they didn't come online immediately.
Yeah,
Even with like streamer access during the press reveal, nobody came out with that Quill Rain or Quill. I keep saying Quill Rain, Quill Volley, um, the Quill Volley build immediately. Evade was the big build
yeah,
right away, and then somebody found it. Um, I just know there's been a little conversation around that of like giving people access early leads to some of this overpowered stuff because they don't report it, and I don't think that's the case. Um, okay, so we've talked a lot. There is a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline. Let's end here. What would you have liked to hear today that you didn't?
it's a good question. Looking at season 7 and some new things that's coming, right? We're getting some new gems, some new runes. We're getting a new enemy called the Head Rotten, which always nice to get a little variation in enemies. Tree of Whispers is going to be an actual little hub now, which is great because every time I go there and I need something, and that vendor's not there, right? Then you got to bounce out. It's already set as my favorite waypoint, so once this comes out, it will never change. Um, but I really wanted to see a new endgame boss. I want a boss to be added to that ladder. Um, I I feel like it's inevitable for the Wolfesto to come. I, I I don't think that boss fight should just be a one and done thing. It was a cool boss fight. Might not be what everyone was anticipating to be the end of that story, right? But I hope it does come back in some capacity down the line. But also after hearing, Rod Ferguson talk about, just a few days ago that, players who have Vessel of Hatred are going to have this exclusive content to continue the story, right? So if we're getting, still that Vessel of Hatred story in its season, well, then it might not be the opportune time to bring Wolfesto back into it, because if it's not fitting the what they're trying to tell us, and then all of a sudden we're fighting him there, but he's already taken over Akaret over here, right? Like that doesn't really make sense there. Um, so yeah, the boss is really the biggest thing for me. But also, as I kind of mentioned earlier, just a little nerf to the XP from 250 to 300, and I think I don't think it's going to happen because it seems like they're pretty doubling down on this. Hey, you're not supposed to reach 300 in a season. It's going to take you a little bit, and it seems like they really want to invite people to the internal realm. I don't think a lot of people is really playing that realm, but they just did that welcome back booster to get people in the internal realm. This approach to 300, if that's going to get more people in the internal realm, it might. But yeah, those are kind of my two big things. And then of course, but we got it, the armory. That was my biggest thing there. How about you?
Uh, for me, and I like first, like coming back to the boss point you had. Um, there's also another boss out there that we haven't seen, and that's Malphas from the Season of the Construct, right? Why isn't
Yep,
that
yep.
there? That's a solid fight. It's stationary.
That's a good point.
It's cool. There was some work that went in there. I'd like to see that fight come back since it's there. It's just sitting around.
For
Um,
sure, right?
I would be I would be all for that to come back. Um,
Actually, a really good point. Like, why isn't it? Because we got Varshan is there.
mhm.
Like what? Varshan was the first one that was part of the story that stayed in to the ladder, right? I mean, besides the story and the actual story bosses, but yeah, where is he?
Yeah, I would bring him back. Um,
Yeah,
I think the big thing for me, it was like hearing about all these ultimates, right? I want to play a pet druid. There isn't an ultimate for a pet druid. It is you're gonna go into petrify, you're gonna go into lacerate or I forget what the werewolf one is, and uh, it- I don't. I need a bear pet. I need to be able to summon something like it. It would just solidify that build a little bit more. That's what I would love to see. Um, yeah, I guess like that's splitting hairs. That's such a small complaint for what I actually want. Um, that's a me thing. That's a Xanth thing. I will say the other thing that's been gnawing at me is we've gone an expansion, we've gone base game, the cow level. I think we are getting to the point where that needs to either be a thing or not be a thing. Uh,
yeah,
because the lifespan of the game is only so limited, and I don't think Diablo 4 is a 10-year game, right? I
no,
think it will have its lifespan, but it will probably need, something else. We've already got an expansion, and that's 1 year in. I don't know if we could do 10 expansions to this game. I just don't know where that goes. So let's, but for the sake of argument, let's pretend it is a 10-year game just for the math of it. I apologize. It's late, and I don't want to do math too much in a
yeah,
podcast. I'm sorry. But if it's a 10-year, here I go getting mathy again. If it's a 10-year cycle for this game, that would mean 1/10 so far has been without the cow level or whatever the cow level of this version of Diablo actually is. And that just seems weird. I don't think I, I would hate to see this go into 2 years, and now we're talking 20% um, of the game's life cycle without it. I get like being cheeky and being hidden, and that I think that's really cool to some extent. But if it exists, it's being deprived of everyone. And if it doesn't exist, then maybe say that. It feels like a wild goose chase at the moment.
It's interesting because a while back, and sometimes things are said that they say it to keep players on their toes, but they did say at one point there was not a cow level, right? Maybe there is merit to that. But then there's all the other things that have happened. And it's like, okay, well, maybe there is one. That
To be fair, they have to like the response to the cow level is always there is no cow level, but there's always like Diablo 3 had its version, which
Yep.
I still think is hilarious. Um, Obviously there was the classic for Diablo 2, a year, a year and a month. Well, I guess it's been a year and 5 months since release,
Yeah. Yep.
so almost a year
I
and a
think
half without it. I'm actually more concerned about the lack of a cow level in this game than the lack of Diablo in it. That's
I
a
know. I
great
love how this.
question. That's a great
I
way to
think we're
end
in a
it.
good. Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good spot in Diablo if this is what we're talking about to end this podcast. Of like, where's the damn cow level, right? Because
Right?
episodes before we were talking about like, oh, nightmare dungeons, they're just there. But now they've kind of reworked them, and you get masterworks and stuff. Like, okay, people seem satisfied enough. And we got improvements to the pit, improvements to this, and got infernal hordes, and we got the end game boss ladder, right? And we there's a lot of content there. And now you asked the question of like, what did you want to hear today? And we've ended on the cow level. So I think that is a
Yeah.
testament of we're in a decent spot right now, but also we're waiting for the cow level.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good question to pose out to everybody at home. And sound off, obviously. Comments on the internet. Use the Twitter. Also, Blue Sky. I
Blue
don't know if
sky's the thing now.
are you on Blue Sky, Evan?
Yeah, I jumped over there.
I have found it to be quite refreshing. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
going with both.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the second my Blue Sky follower count goes higher than Twitter, I'm gonna delete it. Um, like not Twitter, not Blue Sky. For reasons. But uh, yeah, but let us know on there. Like, what are you more concerned about? Are you more concerned about the lack of a cow level or the lack of Diablo? I'm curious where you fall in this great debate. Kevin, always a treat. Thank you for coming on and filling in for not just one co-host, but both.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me on. It's always great to come on this podcast and talk Diablo and fill in for the two experts on here. And so I'm honored is what I'm calling it.
I don't think any of us have ever been called experts, but I'll pass that on to both of them because they don't listen, so you can call them really whatever you want. Neither one of them
Yeah,
listens to the
yeah.
show.
Fuck them, right?
Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's close it out as we always do with a moo, moo, moo.
Moo moo moo.